Welcome to this explainer. When you think about just how many countries play football across the globe, the sheer volume of competition is absolutely staggering. But despite all that, the history of who actually wins the ultimate prize is remarkably concentrated. Today, we're diving into this incredibly rare tier of nations that have actually conquered global football. We're going to break down this history by the numbers and map out exactly who sits on the ultimate throne of the sport. So let's kick things off with a massive question. Out of all the nations on Earth, across decades and decades of global competition, how many do you think have climbed to the absolute summit to be crowned FIFA World Cup champions? You might think the wealth gets spread around a bit, right? Well, the answer is actually shockingly small. It's just 8. Yeah, literally only 8 countries have ever won the FIFA World Cup. In nearly a whole century of competition, the ultimate prize has been completely locked down by a mere octet of nations. Today, we are going to explore this highly exclusive club, going tier by tier to see exactly how these 8 powerhouses stack up. Starting us off at Tier 1, we have the one-time champions. Only 2 countries sit at exactly 1 victory. And it's actually kind of fascinating to consider that despite their massive, legendary reputations in the footballing world, England and Spain have only managed to bring the trophy home a single time each. And there is a massive gap in time separating these 2 victories. The very first World Cup was played way back in 1930, but it wasn't until 1966 that England claimed their single victory. And Spain, well, they didn't join this exclusive club until much, much later, finally winning their sole championship in 2010. This timeline really highlights just how incredibly hard it is to break into this group. Honestly, it can take generations. Moving up, we enter the tier of doubling up on glory. Now, winning once is a legendary feat all on its own, for sure, but Uruguay and France have both managed to capture the cup twice. They've doubled up on glory, completely separating themselves from the one-timers. And their journeys tell a brilliant story of 2 completely different eras. Uruguay struck early. They won that very first tournament in 1930 and then grabbed their second title in 1950. France, on the other hand, achieved their 2 stars in the modern era, winning in 1998 and then again in 2018. But here is a super fascinating bit of symmetry. Both Uruguay and France won their 2 titles exactly 20 years apart. How crazy is that? Next up, we are looking at the 3 and 4-timers. So, moving past 2 wins takes us straight into the realm of true dynasties. And standing completely alone in the 3-win tier is Argentina. They were first crowned champions in 1978, and they actually quickly followed that up with a second title just 8 years later in 1986. But then, there was an immense wait. After '86, it took over 3 decades until they most recently brought home the trophy in 2022. Now, the competition intensifies heavily at 4 wins. Here we have the parallel dominance of 2 incredible nations, Italy and Germany. Both of them have racked up 4 titles each, but across completely different timelines. Italy was an absolute force early on, winning back-to-back in 1934 and 1938, before adding 2 more later in '82 and 2006. Germany, though, has been a model of spaced-out consistency. They won in 1954, 1974, 1990, and 2014. And now, the summit. Brazil stands alone. We have finally reached the absolute peak of our mountain. Standing above Argentina at 3, and Italy and Germany at 4, is Brazil. They are literally the only country in the entire history of the sport to have won the FIFA World Cup 5 times. Their 5 incredible victories reveal a period of just absolute global dominance. They sequentially secured wins in 1958, 1962, and 1970. That is 3 championships packed into just a 12-year window. They added to their legend in 1994 and then captured their 5th title in 2002, setting a benchmark that literally no other nation has matched. But looking at that final date brings up an incredible point. It has been over 2 decades since Brazil's last win in 2002, and no one has managed to equal their 5 titles since. Which leaves us with one really provocative question: who is going to be the next nation to rise up and conquer this exclusive club? Will a current heavyweight finally tie Brazil's record, or will a brand new country shock the world? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes on the history books.